Rich, thank you. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah,
Glad to have you.
I appreciate you having me. It's nice to be here today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Exciting and pleasure to see, heard a bit about your background earlier, which is pretty exciting, and, hopefully everybody else can hear a little bit about it and get to know you. Yeah, so just dive in. You're from Ohio originally, and then you said you had roots in Kentucky, and like how did that get you to Binghamton? You knew I had a little weird way of landing here, but
you did. I grew up in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and then when I was a junior in high school, my father's job was transferred to Glasgow, Kentucky, which is near the Tennessee line. So when you think of Ohio and Kentucky, they share a border, but we were much further south. So I finished high school in Kentucky, went to college in Kentucky, got my master's degree at Western Illinois, and then I was also did ROTC, so I was in the Army,
right,
and completed my OBC. Then did an internship in Tennessee with the Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association, which would be the equivalent to the New York State Public High School Athletic Association in Latham, New York, which is near Albany. That would be the governing body for high school sports in New York. So I did that in Tennessee.
Oh.
And then I went a period where I was unemployed, and I finally I got a job selling windows in Louisville, Kentucky.
I share that same story. I sold windows for a while as well. Yeah.
I sold thermal guard windows.
Okay.
What did you sell?
Yeah, I mean, we pitched everything under the sun. These windows could, block the sun rays in the house, and the noise cancellation and things like that. They were Anderson windows. They were decent windows.
All right.
Yeah, it was good. Were yours vinyl?
Ours were vinyl. They were triple pane with some sort of gas between.
Argon.
There you go. Argon gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's been so long, I don't remember the.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was selling those windows in Louisville, trying to find a job in sports, and couldn't. The master's degree, by the way, came in sport management.
Okay, yeah.
So I finally got to the fall of 1994. I'm selling these windows, and I thought, I need to go to the baseball winter meetings. In conjunction with those meetings, they had a job seminar.
So, and did you play baseball?
I did, but I actually more individual success as a football player, but I did play baseball.
I mean, it's kind of like people like you that had a large hand in a sport. It's almost like you've played multiple sports. You've got that hand-eye coordination, athleticism. So it's almost like, you can dabble in a few different sports. It's like the golfers on TV. I'm a golfer, so I pay attention to them, and some of them were like basketball players and tennis players. So kind of goes with it. Okay, so football player, but baseball player. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I decided to go to these winter meetings because of this job seminar. And at that point, I had gone about a year and a half without a job other than selling those windows. So a friend of mine was working for the U.S. Postal Service. He said, I'm going to take a week off. We rented a car out of the Louisville airport, Stanford Field, and we drove all the way from Louisville to Kentucky to Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And we attended the winter meetings. And while I was there, I had about 12 interviews, and I got about 6 to 8 job offers. But all the job offers, they wanted me to come for free. And the best offer...
Like internship?
Internship.
Okay,
internship.
Yeah.
It was all internship.
Okay.
So the best offer came from Binghamton. They were going to give me, and then back then it was the Binghamton Mets. They were going to give me a $500 a month. But the key was a place to live. So there were no utilities and free housing. I thought, I can make this work.
Yeah.
So I accepted the offer, and the story is I came back to the room where my friend was, and I said, I'm so excited, I finally got a job in sports. I'm going to go work for the Binghamton Mets. And he looked at me and he said, Binghamton? He goes, where's Binghamton? And I said, well, I'm not exactly sure. I said, I think it's in Massachusetts. So back then...
close.
Close.
Yeah.
So there was no internet, so we had to get an encyclopedia or something figured out.
Oh, I love it.
And figured out where it was at. And within 3 weeks, I was here in Binghamton, living in Endicott, sort of where North meets Maine.
Yeah.
That's where I lived the first almost 7 years that I lived here.
Okay. And then, wow. So then you said you had a stint of ROTC with military, Army, you said?
Army.
And then I'm curious where did that go and where did that fit in with
So I
everything?
had a dual career most of my years here in Binghamton. So I spent 29 and a half years in the Army and Army National Guard. So I officially got in the Army in 91 and didn't get out till 2020. So while having the job in Binghamton, I would go away once a month for drill, 2 times a year for the annual training, multiple trainings, multiple conferences through the years, leadership schools, and then I also went on active duty 6 different times.
Oh.
So there were 6 times where I left the Binghamton Mets or Binghamton Rumble Ponies and went on active duty 5 times overseas for deployments and 1 time in Pennsylvania for active duty down there. So I did a tour in Iraq, 2 in Kuwait, 1 in Bosnia, and 1 in Egypt as well. So
I mean,
so there were like year-long periods where there was a 2-year period where I was gone, wasn't even living here.
Yeah.
So there were gaps in that service with the Rumble Ponies and the Mets.
wow. Okay. So, how was that being in the military and going out? Like any cool missions or anything that you care to share?
Yeah, it was an outstanding opportunity. What I loved the most about it was the travel. So I got to visit.
I get
think
that.
I counted either 20 or 21 countries, 20 states, Washington D.C. I've been all over the world.
Yeah.
In Iraq, I had a chance to visit, like the ruins of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. When I went to Egypt, I climbed Mount Sinai. I saw the pyramid, the Sphinx. In Bosnia, I visited Sarajevo, where the Olympics were in 1988, the Winter Olympics. One tour took me to France, so I got to go to the Eiffel Tower. All over, all kinds of exciting things. Met all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Got to eat all kinds of food. Interesting missions. Just a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk more about that.
I love that. That's kind of how I, not about me, but I spent a lot of my younger years traveling, not the country or the world, but the country, lived in multiple states. But man, I just think that helps shape and build somebody so much. I can't say enough about traveling and how much people need to get out of their own hometowns and get out there, even if for a decade or so, but get out there, see different cultures, see different people, foods, like you said, and just immerse yourself in different. So, wow, that's crazy. And then now Binghamton Mets, so you work for the Binghamton Mets and took $500 a month and you got a place and like, what is that? What did Binghamton look like back then? Like,
it looks a lot like it does now.
Okay, yeah, sadly.
No,
man.
So the first year was an intern, and then at the end of the year, they came to me and said, we'd like to offer you a full-time job. And it was going to be as the director of stadium operations. So in the fall of 1995, I accepted that job. And then essentially stayed here ever since, with the minusing off the military tours. And then, as you know, in 2020, when COVID hit, the minor league, at least the affiliated minor league season got canceled. So we all lost our jobs there. So I went and I worked 18 months at Dick's Sporting Goods, but in the distribution center in Conklin, not on the retail end.
Yeah.
And another great experience there, working in a warehouse. It was just a totally different environment. And then I maintained that office at the stadium.
Okay.
And I'd come in once a week. Once we got out of COVID, I really felt an obligation to Dick's because they had accepted me as a supervisor from outside the industry. So I felt like I owed them. At the time, I said, I got to give this at least a year. It ended up being 18 months. In distribution, they have these peak seasons that occur from about Black Friday until right up around Christmas.
Yeah.
So I thought, I started in September, so I made it through a year. I thought, let me get through the peak season, see what happens. And then the Rumble Ponies had changed ownership in November of 2021. John Hughes sold it to David and Karen Sabatka. And the Sabatka family made an offer for me to return. So in March of 22,
Okay.
I went back, and I've been back.
Is
there
that when they changed from the Mets, or when did they change? What?
No, the change from the Binghamton Mets to the Rumble Ponies, the name change or the announcement came in November of 2016.
Oh, okay.
So the
So
first
well
season
before.
as the Rumble Ponies was 2017, and that was when the Hughes family owned the team.
Okay.
And the thinking there is they really wanted to have their own identity, because you look at the local hockey team would always change names. It was the Whalers, they left. Then it was the Senator, or not the Senators, but the Rangers, they left. Then later on the Senators, and so it was so forth. So they wanted to have our own identity.
Okay.
So at the time there was a contest. I don't know if you were here for that or not. There was a big contest that occurred.
2018 I was
You
here.
can get here 2018.
Yeah.
So this was before that. There was a big
Yeah.
contest. They narrowed it down to like 5 or 6 names, and then they picked the Rumble Ponies primarily to pay homage to the area's billing as the carousel capital of the world.
Ah, I
'Cause as
see
you
how
know,
they're tying that together.
Right. You
Okay.
have 6 carousels still operating that the Johnson family donated to the community, and the idea is that the pony is the horse, and Rumble, you can fight Rumble,
Okay.
like gangs
Yeah,
can fight, or
okay.
Thunder Rumbles. So the Rumble pony is sort of the
Power.
pony that broke away from the carousel.
Okay.
And then with the horse being such a majestic creature, you can do so much in terms of our mascots, in terms of logos. We can call the box office the starting gate, the stores, the armory. There were just so much you could do with it.
Yeah.
That we went that way.
Easily marketable and
Yeah.
get
And
creative.
We could trademark it. So there were some names we liked more. We liked stallions, but you have the old Birmingham Stallions of the USFL, and you can't really trademark that.
Okay.
Stampede, there's the Calgary Stampede, I believe, which is a Canadian Football League team. So the Rumble Ponies also enable us to trademark that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, wow. Okay. And then, so we're in our career and rolling along on Dick's, and then kind of coming back to the Rumble Ponies. Well, I guess I want to go back to the military, because were you in leadership in military? Because you're in a leadership position now, and I'm curious as to if the military queued you up for leadership out in civilian world, or what did they teach you in the military that you carried here? Like, how did you kind of climb the ranks as you did?
I think that's an important fact that you bring up. I think it shaped me a lot. So I was an officer in the Army.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to command at the company level, the battalion or squadron. I actually commanded a squadron out of Philadelphia, the 1st and 104th Cavalry. And then at the very end, I was even a brigade commander, the 2nd Brigade, 28th Infantry Division, which is out of Washington, Pennsylvania, which is south of Pittsburgh. Okay. So a lot of what I bring, it shaped me a lot. It's funny, even today we were having a briefing that if a military person walked into that briefing, they would know right away that I had been in the military.
What structure?
The structure, how it was,
yeah.
how the slides are, all of it. So I really believe in trying to give your subordinates as much freedom to do his or her job as possible, and then providing guidance. And I've tried to carry that. That's a positive I think I've tried to carry over to the Rumble Ponies. Probably a weakness is I'm still from that era where there was a lot of yelling.
Okay.
that went on,
yeah.
My football coaches yelled at me in the 80s.
Yeah.
My mother and father yelled at me.
Yeah.
When I came to the Army in the 90s.
You get excited and passionate, and
right.
it's.
And now I when I yell, I get chastised. Hey, you
yeah,
gotta bring it in.
gotta reel them in. Yeah,
So.
I get it. But, and that's interesting that you're talking about. Like, I love what you said about the military taught you how to, have your subordinates, but give them the freedom to do what they want to do. And John, the owner here, I mean, he's a Marine, and I don't know all the numbers and battalion, but man, he has the same outlook. I mean, he gives us the creative freedom to kind of do what we want. He gives us the blank canvas, and we draw up plans and we present it, and it's, usually a yes, and we just run with it. But I love hearing that, because nowadays in leadership, and I actually have a buddy that I want to talk to about leadership, but man, leadership is just, gone are the days where you can just dictate and make people do things, and you got to be a lot softer and be a lot more of a leader, and you got to. It's just a lot different now, and just trying to say that not a lot of people have that. Not a lot of leaders or managers possess those skill sets. That's hard to find, I believe.
It's a struggle. You're right, and I think some of it comes from the Army, that you develop a mission and you give that mission, and then it's up to that unit to figure out how to accomplish that mission. So when you talk about the canvas that you got to create, same thing in the military. You figure it out, get to the end. But it's harder nowadays, you're right, because the military produces leaders, and I'm not so sure the civilian side does that. And a lot of times you're only as good as the last position you were in. So then you move up one, and you got to do it a little differently than you used to do it, because now you're in charge of multiple people, and there's still challenges for me with 15 people at the
nobody's
place.
perfect, but I think it goes a long way to say that a lot of this military training, and you were excited that I brought it up, and man, it shows that the military, just the leadership training, I can't say any more about it, and so the employees, like, how is that from back then and then here? How many employees? Like, how is it the Rumble Ponies you manage? Is it marketing, or what all are you managing? What different areas?
So we've always had about 14 to 16 full-time people. It's really never gotten more than that or less. Obviously, when fans are there on a game day, there's over 100 people, but a lot of those folks are part-time. So we have 7 or 8 major areas. We have food and beverage, because we've got to prepare all the food and feed the people, and even sometimes feed the players. We've got a groundskeeper who's responsible for taking care of the field and making sure it's up to standard.
Yeah.
We've got a souvenir store where you can come in and buy souvenirs or buy them online, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit later about merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a director of ticket sales, and that young lady's responsible for a lot of the back ends that happens in the computer.
Okay.
So all that, when you walk up to buy your tickets, you just have to push a button. She's building all those different ticket prices and packages. And we also have a director of stadium operations. That would be more traditional, like the physical plant of a building. Like you all said, you are a property manager.
Yeah.
That would be more along those lines, taking care of the stadium and anything outside the actual field, right? And then we do have a marketing director. That's Eddie Saunders. So he comes up with a lot of these crazy promotions and tries to promote the team. And then there's also a sales department. We're actually looking for a director of ticket sales now that are the folks that actively go out and try to sell tickets to groups, say churches or businesses. And then they're together, it's sort of brother or sister is sponsorship sales as well. So we're out selling advertising and stuff like that. Marketing and things.
Interesting. Like so, and I did take a quick peek, for the people out there watching and listening. So you do have a director of ticket sales. I thought I saw some other positions open. Are you aware of those? Do you want to talk about those?
And I forgot to mention we have a director of finance too. We take care of all that. So we have a couple of full-time positions open, a director of ticket sales and a director of sponsorship sales. We're actively looking for folks now. And then there are a couple of seasonal, and I use the word seasonal, full-time positions available. That's where you would work full-time now until the end of the season. And then that job would go away. And that is an assistant in our store, an assistant in our box office, and also an assistant for social media and assistant for marketing. We're looking for all 4.
Wow.
And then if you're not interested in any of that, we have game day workers where you can come down and pour beer, sell food,
just to get in the vibe, just to be at the stadium. Is that kind of man? That's so cool. Yeah, covered position. I mean, okay, so like, what are your thoughts about the season this year? I saw that, man. I think we lost our first home game, but what are you've got to be optimistic, right? I mean, what are your feels about the season this year?
So as far as the team on the field, we the last 2 years we were pretty successful. 2 years ago, we made it all the way to the championship game and lost to Erie, which is a Detroit Tigers affiliate. Last year we had a winning season but didn't make the playoffs. So we have a lot of the players that were here last year. We're seeing some of them come back to us. And then, as you know, the minor leagues, they're different levels. There's low Class A, high Class A, Double A, and Triple A, and then you go to the major leagues. So the team behind us, Brooklyn, which is Brooklyn, New York, the city, they had a very good season as well. So some of those players are going to come up to us. So we're off to a little bit of a slow start. I think it's like 3-6 or something like that right now.
Yeah.
But I think that the team will be just as competitive as they've been the last 2 years.
Okay. And what do you think? So who do you choose the coaches, or how does that work? Or
so that
I'm curious.
At the affiliated minor league level, the GM runs the business. It has nothing to do with player development or recruiting or drafting players. All that's done by the New York Mets.
Okay.
So all of our players, all of our coaches, and their direct staff are employed by New York. And what New York does is they sign what's called a player development agreement with an owner of a minor league team. And they agree to supply us with players. And in return, we provide them with a facility to play in. We provide them with hotel lodging when they go on the road. We provide them with transportation on the road and other amenities in the clubhouse, a batting tunnel, bullpens, weightlifting facility, all of that. So that's the trade-off. They don't have to worry about any of those costs, but we don't have to worry about the players and the insurance and all that. So I don't have any say. It's not like in the major leagues where if I don't like the way things are going, I can trade a player or release a player. I don't have any authority there at all. With that relationship, we're more in a support role. We're supporting them so that they can develop talent to make it to the major leagues.
Do everything that they don't have to worry about. They just worry about the team. You worry about the structure and giving them the tools to do their job. Basically, I guess that kind of sums that up from at least in my thoughts. But like the community. So Binghamton, whether it's the Binghamton Mets, the Rumble Ponies, what are the programs that we have in the community? I saw a couple of them. But can you tell me about them? The outreach programs that we have.
We have all kinds of outreach programs. I'll talk maybe schools first.
Then
we can move on to other type of activities. So we've got a lot of school programs. We play 2 games in the morning at 11 o'clock. So we have a game coming up on Wednesday, May 21st, and I believe Wednesday, June 4th, where we're going to play at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we market them as field trips for the local schools. So it'll give the kids a chance to come and see a game.
Oh, that's cool.
And the teachers. That's a program we've been running since like 1997 or 8, somewhere in there.
That's super fun.
And for a while there, we even created an educational plan where you could, like geography, where are the different cities of the Eastern League, or figure out an ERA, a math problem. We did that. Haven't done that as much in the post-COVID area. But so that's one program where they can get a cheap ticket and lunch, come as a group. We have a book club for the schools as well. If the kids read 10 books, they'll get 2 free tickets to the game. We have a STEM day coming up on May 9th, which is a Friday, a fireworks night. Any child that's a member of a STEM club can get 2 free tickets. We've got an agriculture day coming up a week from Sunday. Again, if there's a child who's a member of an ag club or a 4-H club, they can get tickets to that game. There's a teacher appreciation game coming up as well. I don't have that date in front of me. You can check the schedule for that. We even have a bus driver appreciation day that I'm really excited about, sponsored by Leonard Bus Sales. That's coming up also on April 27th. There's a problem with finding bus drivers, so we thought, why not honor those who are driving a bus and then also put word out there. Maybe we'll find a few bus drivers.
Yeah. So has that program? How long has that program been going on? And has it
The bus
yielded?
driver's brand new this year. That one's brand new.
Well, yeah. And then has it yielded anything yet, or
Well,
getting there?
the game's coming up. So we've already, I think there's 500 plus tickets going to bus drivers, and hopefully more.
That's cool.
And by the way, the bus drivers open to
cool.
all bus drivers, not just school bus drivers.
Okay.
So if you're a transit bus driver, if you're over the road like Greyhound or Short Line, or if you're a charter bus like Schaefer, all those folks can get free tickets. They just have to show their credentials and then get 4 for that game.
Okay. That's beautiful.
So
I'm sure.
those are some of the school programs. We also work closely with a lot of the nonprofits. We've got a program called We Care Wednesday, where we offer tickets to nonprofits at a very low price, and then that nonprofit can promote themselves that particular Wednesday, so they can table, throw out the first pitch. The CEO of the charity can come on the field and talk about the charity. We'll put the charity on the radio with our radio broadcaster, sort of having a conversation like we are right now. And then we also have a fundraising program where you can sell tickets. We'll sell them to you at a low price. Then you sell them at a higher, and you keep that.
Okay.
And then you probably saw on social media, Ruby and Rowdy are our 2 mascots.
Okay.
Rowdy's a male stallion, and Ruby, excuse me, they're going to punish me for saying that, but Ruby is a female mare, and both of them are out in the community at all types of activities, fundraisers and such. And then at the end of the year, throughout the year we do these jersey auctions, and the money we make from that, we choose 4 to 5 charities, and we will give a $2,000 check to that charity. And there's been so many that we've done over the last few years. So those are some.
No,
There's
I mean, when I looked at the
programs.
web, I was just like, okay, program. I mean, you guys got a lot going on.
Oh, there's so many.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Those are
for
some
the
of the
community.
ones
I mean, we need
really
that here.
in the community,
Yeah, we need that here.
We've got so many. I mean, like our group tickets are $9 a piece. You could come with your church, your hiking club, canoe club, whatever.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of organizations that come out. You can combine it with a picnic. You can go to a skybox. So there's a lot of fun activities at the stadium.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, we're coming down to the end of the time, but I wanted to touch on, where can we find the Rumble Ponies, links, but also you wanted to talk about the merchandise and different things like that. What's good with that?
I wanted to talk about 2 alternate identities. So even though we're the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, we will play throughout the years. We've played with specialty jerseys or under another name. So one that most people in the community know, many times we've played as the Binghamton Speedies in honor of the local sandwich. Sam Lupo, his brother Steve.
Never had one, obviously, until I moved here. But crazy enough, me and my wife, we went to visit in Texas, and we went to this downtown bar restaurant, and they had a Speedy on the menu. Could not believe it.
All right, was it somebody that must have lived up here?
That's what she was saying. We didn't take the time to ask the owner or whoever, but had to have been, right?
It
had to have been.
If you go just 30, 40 miles in any direction, you won't be able to get Speedies.
Yeah,
it's really a Binghamton thing.
Okay, so then somebody must have been.
It had to be.
From up here.
I saw it in Louisville one time, but I asked, and the guy was from here. So
we should have. So Speedies, and then what's the other team?
So Speedies,
and then
we've done that for several years. We've played as the Speedies. But this year we unveiled 2 that have been very successful. The first one that we unveiled in January, we're going to play 2 games this year as the Binghamton Bathtub Donkeys. One on June 28th, and we're going to give away bathtub towels.
Okay.
And then another on July 30th. That's our Super Splash promotion. That's where we have wet and dry sections, and we get people wet.
Okay.
In the wet sections with hoses and squirt guns.
Oh,
and so
that's
forth.
fun.